it's time to sort of wrap it up and give our tourney pictures. How does your bracket look?
My bracket breaks down almost entirely chalk. My main brackets as a first for a while. I have some upsets. Your token 12-5. I have Western Kentucky over Illinois.
That would be a potential upset in the South region. I agree with that.
Starting in the Midwest, so I talked about Cleveland State. Ultimately, I think Louisville will break them down.
Will they win it? Will they go to the Final Four, you think?
Louisville, I think Kansas or West Virginia. I like West Virginia over Kansas, but I think they can get them
Michigan State?
Yes. I'm not a Michigan State fan at all, but ultimately I think Louisville will come out of the Midwest.
Yeah, I think the way the Midwest Elite Eight matchup looks is Louisville and West Virginia in a rematch of the 2005 NCAA Elite Eight matchup where West Virginia blew a 20-point lead and that game went to overtime and Louisville won. Do you think West Virginia gets the revenge?
Maybe.
I want to say yes, but I can't. And at least in my main bracket, I'm the type, I know you're probably the type, we have a few extra brackets on the side to soothe our ego, but in my main one, I have to go with Louisville somehow making the Final Four, even though I do fear, I think there's a lot of teams that can take down Louisville. They're kind of coming in on a high, and you wonder, can they maintain that high? West-wise, I'll continue on with the West. I pretty much have chalk throughout this whole matchup, and there's two kind of technical upsets, which would be a 5 seed Purdue being a 4 seed with Washington and a 2 seed Memphis being a 1 seed UConn. But I think those are the favorite teams anyway. The one legitimate toss-up for me is the 2-3 game between the 3 seed Missouri and the 2 seed Memphis, and that, to me, on the other side, is a key matchup because I do think that will be a classic.
I'm with you. I think Maryland has a good chance to upset Cal.
I will say though, if Cal beats Maryland, they could give Memphis a run for the money just because they're #1 in 3-point shooting percentage.
You think they will, though?
No, I quite honestly have Memphis going to the Final Four. How about you?
All right, I think it comes down to the Missouri-Memphis matchup. I think either one of those teams could win that game, and I think ultimately they'll beat. I have them beating UConn. I think Purdue can upset UConn, but I think it comes down to Missouri-Memphis, and I personally have Missouri moving on to play Louisville in the Final Four.
And your East?
East region, this is another one that's pretty chalk. I have VCU upsetting UCLA. Although if UCLA wins, I think UCLA can take it.
The one problem with that is that it's in Philadelphia, and if they get past VCU, which again I will say that UCLA is getting a good deal by having this game at night, where it puts a little bit more favor for them. It will be tough because if they beat VCU, they will probably have to play Villanova, the 3 seed, and Villanova, as you guys know, is pretty much in Philadelphia, a few miles away. So that will be the tough thing. Anything else that stands out to you?
I think Villanova will continue their run. I think they'll beat VCU, who I have beating UCLA. And I think they'll beat Duke. And then I have Pitt over Villanova to get to the Final Four.
Again, I kind of go with the chalk here. The one upset, I guess you can call it upset. To me, it's just a toss-up. Is the 5-12 game between Florida State and Wisconsin. It's kind of just these teams are very close together. They're kind of more tough-minded defensive teams, and the one thing that just concerns me for Florida State is outside Tony Douglas. How are they going to get their offense? As much as I think Florida State is a danger to get all the way to Elite Eight, I actually have Wisconsin upsetting them in the first round. But otherwise than that, Elite Eight, #1, #2 seed, Pitt and Duke respectively. I think Pitt matches up perfectly against Duke, and they will finally beat a team that is better than a 4 seed and beat Duke and make it finally to the Final Four.
All right, how about your South region?
Ooh, South region. Again, I was talking about earlier, the key is going to be the 1-4 matchup between UNC and Gonzaga. For the most part, I have chalk here in the upper half, but in the lower half of the South is where I have the bracket madness. Like I said before, Clemson over Oklahoma. And to make it a little bit further, Syracuse will have a very tough matchup against Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin has one of the best defenses in the nation. And if Syracuse even gets past Stephen F. Austin, I think they will lose to the 6th seed Arizona State, who themselves have a tough first-round matchup against Temple. But I think Arizona State makes it to the Elite Eight. And I do have UNC over Gonzaga, so I think they will make the Final Four. But watch out for that one.
All right, I have a lot more chalk in this region than you do. I like Michigan over Clemson, so that would offset your.
That will be the one.
Upset
I think that will be the one thing that offsets the upset.
I like Syracuse over Oklahoma later on, and then I like UNC over Syracuse to come out of the region.
Okay, so overall Final Four, I have Louisville, Memphis, Pitt, UNC, and I believe you have 3 of the 4 same teams. The only difference is Missouri over Memphis. How does your Final Four pan out?
I like Missouri over Louisville and UNC over Pitt, and then like every single year, UNC I think will take it.
I'm kind of in the same boat. I pick UNC almost all the time, and like I said, one side UNC Gonzaga determines the final. Other side Memphis Missouri determines the final. I have Memphis and UNC winning those games. So Memphis will beat Louisville. UNC Hansbrough will get the one player in foul trouble. They will win, and in the final, I do like Memphis's defense, but at the same hand, they're really bad in effective field goal percentage on offense. Their offense will lack. And I have UNC winning it all again, just like you. So we'll see what happens. No matter what happens, this tournament will be interesting. There's a lot of potential upsets. I know we're kind of not going for them, but there's a potential for this to be very interesting. So that's all for 4 quarters and the NCAA Tournament show. I'm Adam Dobrovsky, the Atom Bomb.
And I'm Kyle McQueen.
You guys have a great day.
You need to get some sleep. And you're sitting on a bed, so that's beneficial.
Probably I set this up right now. Like this.